welcome back to the final day of Pro League before Fort Worth. Ant managed to successfully infect Pack, so he is out sick, which means we have Joe on the desk.
Stay away.
Which also means we have 3/4 of the Envy squad that came in second at Champs for Ghosts, Nameless, Joe, Study. How's it feel to be reunited?
I'm happy to be, that's my COD brother and that's my COD dad. It feels good just looking at these beautiful gentlemen over here to my left. We did some amazing things together.
Absolutely. Yeah, we won without him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did end up dropping you, so.
Yeah, and then I've ended up beating them as well, so it's fine.
We do actually
on a little Euro trip
have a picture. Look at how sweet you guys are. So cute, so young.
Jay, you do look like a baby.
Yeah.
You are a little
like
baby
a
face.
baby.
It's all good.
Hey, you look like a little baby too.
Yeah, sure. I got a mop head. Don't got that no more. So
I don't even have a beard in that picture. That's crazy.
Yeah, the beard brings it off for you, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's rewind to yesterday and Study. I want to start with you. We had Denial and Splice. Talk us through that.
Yesterday, Denial, before that Splice series, going down 0-2, they had a 2-8, a hardpoint record, a 1-5 S&D record, and a 1-4 control record. Yesterday, when they went down 0-2, I thought it was going to be absolutely just 3-0. Easy, but the first hardpoint was really close. The S&D, it was back and forth. But the team, when it hit the control map, they looked like a completely different team. Natshay, for some reason, he was running a Maddox yesterday. I think it definitely helped in the slaying department for the team. Risk for me yesterday was the MVP for the roster. He ended up with a 1.1. Yep. And just in general, Denial yesterday got so much flack yesterday, but they deserved that win because the performance that they put on yesterday was unbelievable.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
For this team, Risk has been the guy, at least statistically, he's been the best player on this team. Overall, the rest of the guys have been kind of underperforming, but the supporting cast yesterday played pretty good. In games, even in game 1, I thought that they, took them to the limit. They could have taken that map, but games 3, 4, and 5, Denial really showed what they were capable of. And Splice may have not had the hottest of a series, but Denial to be able to play to that level proves that they can improve and become a good team.
Well, I think we've been so surprised. Again, we saw a couple teams yesterday, like Envy and Denial, kind of upsetting, if you will, when we'd seen kind of not so good performances out of them, Joe.
Yeah, we really haven't. I mean, if you focus on Splice, right, really just focusing on that series for Splice, that's 2 in a row now. And then today you go into a match where you're playing a United, right? This is a match number 1 in the second seed, in this division. You lose 3 in a row, and we're just all sort of looking at each other like, what is going on here? I mean, even last week, Splice had a lot of close games. I mean, yes, they were 3-0ing teams, but the maps were close. In Denial, it was a big win for them. I think Splice, you go up 2-0, you go to Control, which has been such a solid game mode for you. You're thinking, all right, these guys are done, they're put away, and then Denial just show up. They 3-0 them, and then it goes to that game 5, and Splice is probably just sitting there looking at each other like, what just happened? And, we know those reverse sweeps. We've been in that position before where you just sort of, the game ends, and you just sort of look at each other like, what happened? Yeah. Where did that go wrong? Where did it turn? So for Splice, this is a big day for them.
Now, Joe, I want to stick with you because we did see something similar to that, again, with Heretics and 100 Thieves yesterday, with 100 Thieves upsetting them.
Yeah, I think a big match of the day between those two teams. And for 100 Thieves, this was just huge for them. Yes, it was a 3-0, but it was so back and forth. And I think the pace for 100 Thieves was just set off right off the start on this Hacienda hardpoint. We saw just a day earlier, Heretics, they were able to take this map number 1 against, against Splice when they were able to win that series. And then for 100 Thieves to just go back to this and say, our journey, our Lucky gonna play at that same level once again, and this was such a huge play towards the end for Priesta. You go into the search and destroy, and we get them on Arsenal, right? I think 100 Thieves did such a good job in the veto system. Octane Sniper was on point, Slasher stepped up big time. Then we go all the way to a round 5 for Control, and it was just finally for 100 Thieves, you get a big win under your belt. It's a 3-0, and things are looking up going into Fort Worth.
They looked unbelievable yesterday versus Heretics. From top to bottom, everybody played amazing. Other than that first map, Enable kind of had a bad game, but Priesta stepped up for him, and that's what you need is when you pick up a player like Priesta to be able to step up for somebody when they're not playing too hot. And to see 100 Thieves win 3-0 after how they were on the previous roster, it's like the improvement is there. They look so much better, and they're going to be one of those teams that you look at and you're like, wow, they possibly could make it to a championship going into this next event.
Well, certainly, especially if they keep making those improvements by the time we get to Fort Worth. But now we did have Envy and E United yesterday as well, with Envy getting that win.
Yeah, I mean, Envy, they played incredible, right? And then I remember I had a long talk with Apathy the night before. He texted me in the beginning of the text message, goes, Ant, I'm losing full. And I was like, why? I'm just talking to him about the game and stuff, and he was just saying how he has to play so much better and how he felt like the team was playing slow, et cetera, et cetera. And going into this match right here, they were able to finally close out that game number 1, which I think we've been on teams like that before, right? Like when you're constantly losing game one and then, it goes down to the final moments of a couple maps and you end up losing it. You almost feel like it's a habit and it continues to happen until that one time you're able to close it out and then you're like, okay, we need to ride this momentum the rest of the series. And I think that's what NVS did yesterday. On the back of Silly, who played amazing in the respawns, and everybody was a well-rounded effort in that hard point. In the control, Silly was just absolutely destroying. In the search and destroy, it was really Hook who shined and dropped like 13 and 5 and picked up streaks and was doing it all. But you get your superstars Silly and Hook, who have been the superstars for this Envy team, to go off on 2 separate maps in the series, and then you get the supporting cast to play well alongside, and that's the formula Envy needs.
And you just have to hope that this turns into a couple of wins in a row. You can obviously Envy right now 2-4. I would say to finish 3-4 if they win today. It's solid, right? They have a very tough division when you look at this from top to bottom. But can they do it again, right? That's always the big question for Envy. It's like you go into the series and you flip a coin. Are they going to be able to 3-0 team? Are they going to lose to teams?
Are they going to go game 5, round 11?
Exactly. You just never have any idea with this Envy team. The one time they did it right was EG when they were able to win COD champs last year. It just feels like until a certain point in the game, these guys are just coin flipping going into this series. You need all 5 of these players to just step up and play consistently.
Yeah, and you don't want coin flips to be kind of like your motto at this point. But we do want to bring up now our pool explainer for Fort Worth, which I'm going to hand over to Joe to kind of walk us through what's going on here.
Yeah, so this will be revealed later on today. Obviously, we have Fort Worth right around the corner, just a couple of weeks away, and you can see we have a couple of teams from each division throughout each pool. So, Gen G, Midnight, they're already set up, and then the rest will be revealed on today. So you have 3rd, 4th in both from Pool A and Pool B. And again, we're going to reveal those today, but always an exciting time when we can reveal those pools because, there's a lot of crazy pool sort of options that can happen. A lot could really change just today.
Yeah, and the pool, whatever pool you're in, can almost decide the fate of your tournament.
Yeah.
I was always a firm believer in I want the hardest pool.
Yeah.
Then if you make it out that hard pool, you're ready to cruise through and make it to the final. But Fort Worth is going to be an absolutely insane event. All these teams making improvements right before, on the cusp of becoming a really good team. Teams like 100 Thieves and, Envy looking a little bit better. And if these guys are all playing at their top potential, there's going to be like 8, 9, 10 teams looking at like, wow, they can make a super long run in this tournament.
Well, and it's also going to be a new patch, so things are going to be different. Obviously, we maintained that patch throughout Divisions A and B these 2 weeks, but it's going to be all different for Fort Worth.
These guys, they have to go back. I think they have 10 days to practice on the new patch and get prepared for it when they're at home. And then the Division A teams have had a little bit more time to practice on it, so it's going to be a game of catch up for some of these guys. But these guys are watching streams and they're learning and they're playing at home right now, so they sort of have an idea of what it's going to be like.
Now let's look at our schedule study because coming up we have Excelerate and Denial kicking things off today.
After the performance that Denial was able to put on yesterday versus Spice, I just don't see them losing this. The simple fact that they were just able to keep up in the slaying department. Their teamwork looked amazing. Even in that S&D, it was just like when you shot one person on the team, there was his teammate was immediately just looking at you, just watching his crossfire. It was just clicking on all points for Denial, and I just feel like if the same supporting cast in Nat, Shay, and Zeke are just able to keep up with their slaying like they were yesterday, especially versus Splice, then they should be able to take this series.
The thing for this series is all right, Denial, they haven't looked absolutely fantastic in respawn.
Yeah.
Beating Splice on a couple respawns, that's good. But through and throughout, they haven't looked that good in respawn. Accelerate has been absolutely dreadful in respawn. So if there is a team, though, that...
They're 0-9?
Yeah, they're like 1-10, I think, in hardpoint.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. But if there is a team that Accelerate is going to come in and beat in respawn, it's going to be Denial. So I think if Accelerate win that game 1, which is very possible, and they go into that game 2 search and destroy where they haven't lost a search and destroy with Robbie B added to their roster, you can find yourself up 2-0 in a series where it's like, okay, we're confident in our search, so if it does manage to go to game 5, we'll possibly win. And, we can beat Denial in respawn. So if you're Accelerate, it all comes down to me to that map number 1.
I just think it's so weird, right? Because obviously when we add a new player, it happens all the time. There's a roster change. There's a substitute. Every time we focus on that, we always say, this team's probably going to struggle in the search and destroy. They're going to struggle in the control hardpoint. They should be fine. It's just sort of plug and play at times, but it's the opposite for Accelerate. These guys with Robbie B, he's just dropping ridiculous stats in S&D. But the other role players on their team in the respawns, when you talk BZ, when you talk Ruiz, they're floating around a 0.8. They have to step on up. The reason you picked up Robbie B is to get rid of his fastball, just terrible respawn KD. You want the rest of the guys, the rest of the supporting cast to step up and maybe they can get a match win here.
And they weren't necessarily even good with fastball, let's be honest. Like before, like even in respawn, they're 1 in 10 in hardpoint. So it's not like they were necessarily like really good before. So they still, like, they have to improve upon everything, even when
the whole roster.
The whole roster has to improve.
Well, we will certainly see, but it looks like our casters are ready to kick things off here for our first match. So we are going to hand it over to Ben and Chance.
Thank you very much, Katie. And it's wonderful to see the 2014 envious roster there from COD Champs during Call of Duty Ghosts, or 3/4 of them, of course. Yeah. Joe, back on the desk. Oh, you do such a good job, Joe. Such a good job. But in terms of our next game, our first game of the day, thoughts, Chance?
Well, I mean, from the side of Excelerate, obviously the roster change is just the main focal point for the team. But even just from how they've looked like in-game, they don't look as clean. They don't look as mistake-free, let's say, versus Denial. Like, I look at Denial, not even just against Spice, but in the past, and like, they do a lot of things right, but they just get beat. Like, they're just a step behind some of the other teams. But now that they've got that one under their belt, you get more confidence. And well, now, of course, they're playing against a team that has been equally as strugglesome, or whatever the word would be, and at very least the respawn. So genuinely, I just think Denial has a fairly clear-cut edge in this series.
Okay, fair enough. Well, game number 1 underway. It's going to be a gridlock hardpoint to kick things off, and just worth mentioning, because I'm not sure if the desk talked about it, but a bit of a virus going around here in Columbus, Ohio, as Chance takes a step away from me, because I'm not feeling too good. Great to have Ant back. He took yesterday off. He was under the weather. Pac-Man, if you're watching, hopefully you feel better. We miss you. We definitely miss you today. But to this one, Denial with the early advantage here. Chance about 20 seconds left here of P1, and Excelerate haven't got a single second.
Well, and Denial also has basically full control of the map. Profeezy is behind enemy lines, but you can even just look at his teammates. Nowhere to be found. They're going to be trying to push in the front. He's going to be doing his best to block spawns, but not even really successfully doing that, as the second gunfight against the exact same player once again. But he's going to get pinched in, takes the first one down. The trade is there, and his teammates have made almost no progress getting towards this hill. Once they get here, they got to deal with Natshay. Robbie, though, able to get that opening pick.
Seeked, waiting patiently, looking through post, has the support of Brezzy. Team kill comes through as well, so it's only going to aid Denial's efforts. They're trying to break through early. More kills coming in for the French squad. Risk finds the last one, and it seems like Excelerate after that rotation, only able to get 2 seconds early. 30 seconds still remain of this hill, and Denial, they're picking up all the time, Chance.
And that was just so slow coming out from Excelerate, right? Like, Profeezy did what he can in the back side of things. He's getting taken down 2v1, but that means there is someone that's not there for Denial inside the hill, and Excelerate never put on the pressure, of course. Now they're able to, well, I say break through, but honestly not even probably going to be successful with that, because Brezzy gets the kill. So that's just even more time that goes the way of Denial. They just had players in the team in the wrong position, not going at the same pace, and, well, they pay the price for it early on. However, they do have all 5 bodies stacked inside this next hill.
Just got to hold it, right? You just got to hold it, get yourself some early time. Do not get broken on the first push. And if you're Denial, you can afford, in terms of time, to just take a little longer, wait for everyone to be set up perfectly, and then go for the pinch. And well, what were we saying about Excelerate? Don't just get wiped. That's a full 5 dead. That's full team wipe, and Denial will just easily walk into the hill.
I mean, you say easily, Ben, but I'm sure some of them took like 30, 40 damage. One of them might have actually almost died, and like, dying is terrible. Granted, you respawn after like 2 seconds, but oh man, Denial, lucky to get away with that one, with that clean 5-man wipe. And well, now they're holding inside the hill. Whalers eventually gets traded. Excelerate, hey, they break through. Final 15 seconds going their way, and well, they actually have a pretty solid opportunity to get the spawns as well. Denial only has 2 players next to the hill. Ruiz, though, does not spot Brezzy in the back, and that does make things a lot quicker. Of course, 3 men for Denial, gonna push through Old Hill. Where's the pressure, though, from Excelerate? Where's the speed? This is the first gunfight that we've had in 15 seconds. Finally, they take him down, and they're able to find Risk as well. Get a body in the hill, and it might be okay.
Something interesting to note, coming into today and into the series, Robbie statistically, something you heard Mert talk about, his AKD, his KD has been great, right? Sure. His damage per map, maybe not as much as the rest of his team. Look at the stats now. Ruiz 4-4, Believe is 2-8, Robbie is 7-4, Beezy's 5-6, and Profeezy is 4-8. How is it he's consistently going positive in situations where they're losing maps and the rest of his teammates are, well, getting crapped on.
I mean, it's tough to say. Like,
is he just baiting his teammates? Is he playing it correctly, I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
Well, I mean, we can look at it right now. At the moment, he's just taking a 1v1 inside the hill, which he's winning. So, like, if he's doing okay on these 1v1 gunfights, that's great. But I think the bigger problem is you get a full 5-man setup on one hill. And even if you're baiting someone out, like, no one is getting kills across the map. Like, I don't want to identify as a one-man issue for the moment when your entire team is getting broken instantly.
Yeah, that's probably a bigger issue to look at first, right? When you have a full 5 rotation, a full 5 setup, and you blink and all of a sudden everyone's dead. Yeah, that's probably something you should consider trying to fix first. But as it stands, Excelerate coming back into this one a little bit. The lead, 108 to 65. 40 seconds left of our first hill, second rotation. And it's Ruiz inside the hill who does get dropped. It's Whalers with the double as the French once again flurry towards the hill, break successfully, and now they can start thinking about the spawn chance.
Well, and Robbie B for that life basically spent the entire time trying to flank for spawns instead of helping out inside the hill. They do not get the hill, they do not get the spawn, so nothing going well from the side of Excelerate. And well, now it's taken basically their entire team just to take out Brezzy over towards P4, but well, that's not where the next hill is, so they're going to be storming forward. Might have to deal with Seek to, well, has the TAC 5 if he wants to use it, but it's actually going to be Risk that pulls out the War Machine to find 2. Natshe gets 1 more, and well, everyone around him dies. It's Robbie B by himself inside 18, and well, now he's just waiting for those reinforcements.
Robbie, he will fall. Team shots come through. Now it's Ruiz's turn to try and break through. Unsuccessful. Profizi is still alive for Excelerate, lingering around the 18-wheeler. Having to go for a bit of a flank. Well, it's going to contest the hill. That's tough. That's tough. More team shots coming through from Denal, and well, 30 seconds left of the second hill chance, and Denal are running away with the game.
They're just sitting comfortably inside. It's been Accelerate's story. I think if they get the early hold, they can hold on for about 2 or 3 seconds. And, well, if they don't get that early break, it's not going too well for them. More than a 100-point lead now. Denial is trying to run away with the game. Once again, though, Excelerate, they do have a couple bodies in the next hill, but it's 2 less than last time. And obviously, the last time it did not go well. Beezy, though, trying to make a little bit of a different play, goes out way on the left side of the map, and is taking down 2 players trying to rotate. And what he's doing for his team, everyone for Excelerate just has to focus on the front side of this hill, and, well, that's where a lot of players are coming from, but especially Brezzy, who's got the grab slam. Does he need to use it? Maybe, because he does get taken down by Profizi.
The problem was he didn't heal before he grappled, so he was going into that fight weak already. Didn't want to potentially try and use the grab slam, only to be shot out of it in the middle of the animation. So Excelerate will hold for now. 30 seconds left. Now, if they want, can try and go for another bit of a pinch. For them, they're also considering the spawns for the new hill. And that's why you have 3 of their players pushing all the way towards the backside of the map. Now the kills can come in. It's a flurry once again. 3 players go down for Excelerate, and the hill, once again, belongs to Denial. But still, Excelerate have done a good job of just trading out the kills at the back chance to keep control of the spawns.
Yeah, they're doing what they can, but Denial now pouring all the pressure in from the backside of the hill. Of course, Excelerate is going to be set up for it, ready to go. They got players that are watching mid, 1 guy even watching the full flank just in case, but no flanks coming in. It's all in the back, and Brezzy, if he gets inside this hill, you just grab slam, clear everybody out, but maybe if he wants to save it, maybe he doesn't need it. If his teammates get the kills, the War Machine is in the map somewhere. It's Robbie B that's using it, and they clear out almost everyone from Denial, but of course, they do not keep those spawns. So Denial, the foot race, they're going to be able to get back inside before the reinforcements, and well, Denial, just like that, take control.
Risk in the back for Denal. By himself, a little bit of an island there. Can he do a job of just staying alive, buying teammates time? Well, he actually finds one with the nade. Brezzy's still there with the grab slam. Because they can't win off this scrap time, they could definitely try and put this game almost completely out of reach. Brezzy with 2 more in front of him. He does a wonderful jump to find 2. Can he find 3? Not gonna happen. Profizi finally finds the kill. But now, if you're Denial, you have so much extra utility. I mean, you have your vision pulse, you have your grab slams, you have your temps, you're about to get a War Machine. You should easily be able to close this out. There should be no worries whatsoever here if you're a Denial fan.
Yeah, it's Ruiz by himself inside the hill, and Denial actually wants to go out and try to kill these players off spawn before they have to make their move, and that's why they were waiting on the vision pulse. That is free kills number 1 and 2 come in the kill feed. Ruiz is trying to dance as much as he can, which, credit to him, is able to pick up 2. Finally, he gets taken down, but now all the players for Excelerate spawn in the back. Vision pulse is gone. They're able to stay inside the hill, and they will take whatever kind of small life they can get. trying to take down Whalers up top. Perfeezy successful with that. Of course, the problem now for Excelerate, you still have to be worrying about the next hill as well, because they are very far away from winning this game.
This game definitely not over, as M. Ruiz makes the big play to start off the third rotation of hills. That double, despite being vision pulsed, was huge. But this is all about the spawns, and the spawns in favor of Excelerate. They'll happily concede 5 seconds of hill time, but now it comes down to winning the first wave of gunfights. We've seen them fail time and time again here in week 2 and also week 1.
And this is going to be every single specialist potentially coming out on this final hill, and they are just there across the board. Everyone has everything. It's about who is going to use it better, who makes the big play. Brezzy invests his grab slam, but now Perfeezy's actually behind 3, finds the first kill. And now it's just distracting Denial. He's making them forced to come in the back, but of course we've seen this before. Perfeezy dies in the back, he's a distraction, but his teammates up front last time did not help him out, and this time, well, it's Denial. 20 seconds away from ending this game.
There's trophies down, which are trying to be removed, but is there a flak jacket? That's the second question. Well, there's your answer. No, not for Excelerate just yet. Denial still in the hill. They can just win here. Vision Pulse has been popped as well. They're investing absolutely everything as they scurry towards the hill. Brezzy and Sushi, he's watching the cut, but it could come down to the play from Perfeezy. Has grab slam, needs to touch the hill. 3 seconds left. There's the slam, only finds 1, gets traded out, and Denial close out map number 1. By no means as safely as arguably they should have done.
Maybe not the best game in the world from either team, really, but Denial continuing the momentum that they built up post their Splice match yesterday. And, well, get a close look at why. Brezzy picking up kills left and right, using grab slams, maybe to only pick up 1 kill here and there, but to break through and get control. The War Machine helped out. I think whichever player it was had 2 on the same map and got a handful of kills apiece with it. So solid stuff coming out from the Wolfpack.
Very good stuff from Denial, and to your point, building upon a little bit of momentum from that reverse sweep Game 5 victory over Splice yesterday. In terms of bigger picture as well here, Chance, something that we didn't talk about is what both these two teams are fighting for to end their second week, is basically to not be bottom of the division.
Yeah, I think both teams sitting at 1-5 right now. You lose, guaranteed last place. It depends on who wins, because I think there's potentials to tie with Envy depending on what happens in this series. So it's not when you get 7th, you might end up in 6th or something crazy, but if you lose, obviously you're at the bottom, and that hurts for seeding for Fort Worth. It hurts for everything, not where you want to be. It hurts for your ego too. Yeah,
definitely does. As here's a glance at really how this one closed out. Perfeezy stayed deep at the back of the map, but after he finds the first, he's expecting the second to challenge from in front of him. Instead, the reality is, Risk goes all the way back, almost just kind of flanks him, if you will. And then from here, Perfeezy off spawn, really the one that you needed to make the play with that grab slam. We see it be so effective on this hill. You grapple over, you slam down, you pick up 2-3 kills. Just not the case, and good specialist usage from Denial, and that sees them close out map number 1. Maybe got a little closer than Denial would have liked it, but either way, they close it out, and I believe Jess actually caught up with some of the Denial guys. Jess, what do they have to say?
Thanks, Ben. Well, yeah, I caught up with Whalers specifically, and more than what he had to say, it was kind of the way he said it and his demeanor. You know, I tell you, like, his entire just body language was so much more relaxed and just less stressed seeming than he was before winning to Splice yesterday. And, you know, he said that that win was huge for them. Their vibes, he said, their team vibes are so much better, because, to be honest, our vibes were pretty bad before, but they're doing a lot better now. And he also added that in preparation for Fort Worth, Denial will be staying here in the States and boot camping for 2 weeks. And then when they come to Fort Worth, they will have a coach as well, which is something that they hadn't had before. So looking forward to that. Now over on the side of Excelerate, I caught up with Perfeezy, and he basically told me that the game plan here is just kind of reps after a couple of really tough losses. They're just getting in as much practice as they can. And he also told me something that, you know, I've heard so many other players here say, which is that being at the Pro League is just such good practice, and it really gives these teams a chance to scrim against some of the top tier teams in the world, and really kind of focus up on those things that they need to focus up on. In Accelerate's case, he said that next they're going to be trying to improve on their respawn, particularly hardpoint. So that's all I've got for now. Back on over to the casters.
Thank you very much, Jess. A ton of information to digest there.
All of the information.
And the first big thing, I think, when we talk about Denial here, is those questions. Are they going to go back home? Are they going to go back to France? Yeah. How are they going to prepare for Fort Worth? Well, they're staying. That's awesome to hear. They're going to be getting more practice, more scrims. But the second thing, which I find very interesting, is they're going to have a coach come Fort Worth as well.
I mean, 2 huge things. And again, this is a team who, what kind of scrim practice they're getting when they're playing in France? I mean, how many top teams are even left in Europe? Because a lot are coming here. So how high expectations could we have, like,
dagger in the side?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
So the fact that they're boot camping here for 2 weeks means they can continue what they've been building upon in these 2 weeks of Pro League and let it go nonstop for Fort Worth. So we've already seen them making improvements from week number 1 to week number 2. If that continues, then I won't say the sky is the limit, because I'm sure there's a couple teams at the top that will be the limit. But again, improvement's what you want to see, and the coach is going to help. So that is great information to have from the side of Denial.
This definitely is. Of course, for them, feeling a little bit more confident, rightfully so, winning in Splice. Not to be undermined at all. Fantastic result for them. But of course, game 1, 252-13 in favor of the Wolfpack. And now with the advantage. Up next, a payload search and destroy, then a frequency control. We'll see if the series is to go further. Now, the one thing that you can say about Search and Destroy heading in is a game mode you expect to see Excelerate perform pretty well in.
Yeah, of course, 3-0, not too bad. The saving grace for the team. But on the flip side, I mean, when I think of payload, and of course I say this for every search map, but
yes,
I think
you do.
of snipers.
You think of snipers.
The payload especially, right? And I think Brezzy is a guy who, well, if it's not with the sniper, it's with his flanks that have been pretty clutch for the team at certain times. And see if Excelerate has anything in the back pocket to try to handle what the French are going to throw at them.
We shall see. As you mentioned, 3-0 here in week 2 since making that team change. Search, it hasn't been the problem. But now you cannot afford to drop it to Denial, because now coming in hot into game number 2. Payload round 1 underway. And it's going to be Denial looking to try and make plays on the outskirts of the map. Already a team kill comes through, so they have a big advantage, 4 versus 2. Of course, you need to try and get that bomb down.
And Perfizi's now by himself. And by himself, I mean in the grave, as Denial just completely runs him over. That was a 10-man A stack. Everyone just ignored the, well, other half of the map entirely. And, hey, let's just go gun skill on gun skill. And yes, S&D has been the saving grace for this Excelerate team as much as you can when you're still not winning any series, but I don't necessarily expect that to be the same here at all. Like, they've still had some close search and destroy maps, and I think Denial is a team that could absolutely take it to them, not just in that first round, but overall, because we've seen Denial on this map specifically. Even against Splice, they were doing impressive things, man.
Yeah, most definitely were. As to start things off, it's going to be Whalers 2-0 for Denial. They go onto the defensive side, and well, you mentioned it was basically 10 players smashing over towards the A site. This time, a bit more of an equal spread, if you will. They understand there is a B bomb on the map, so you'll see some pressure over towards that side. 3 versus 3 momentarily, but for Excelerate, they could turn it into a 4 versus 3 relatively quickly, whilst you also have BZ, number 9 on the minimap. He's going to be watching the flank, and he pushed through, and he may actually get some action relatively soon. Here it is. Spots Whaler's Shadow. That's a gunfight you have to win.
Whalers, it didn't even make it look close. Took like 2 bullets maybe just to win the gunfight, connects with the rest, but the stun's out, trying to force those players on Denial back. You don't want to plant the bomb, you want to attack, and Brezzy's gonna be one shot. That player not aggressive, he's gonna be stunned, and who has the advantage here anymore? It's honestly back to 50-50. The bomb does get planted despite the man disadvantage, but Believe is able to pick up 2 huge kills to kind of open up the round, and now tunnel control goes the way of Excelerate. The stuns are in, and Risk is by himself in the 1v3 where he has to defuse. And honestly, if you could just slide off the map, this would be a great time to do it. He tried.
He tried, but there was 3 players from Excelerate pre-firing right at him. And he just kind of flopped off the map after Perfizi picked up the kill. So despite the first blood coming through there for Denial, Excelerate still did a wonderful job, and it was really this play here which opened it up. Believe gets the double, then manages to avoid being traded out further, stays alive just long enough. So our search and destroy all tied up, 1-1.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he had stunned those players out. In the kill feed, whoever we were watching, he basically got like a collateral, it seemed like, with the Maddox, and I was like, I didn't even know there was a second player behind. Didn't know they got stunned, but made the big play, and it goes to show why he wasn't aggressive hunting for the kill earlier, because he knew he had the stun in the back pocket to make the bigger play.
Love your sniper's chance.
That is an attempt, certainly.
Elaborate. Good effort, but we'll have to reposition, and more importantly, we'll have to concede map control, site control over towards B. Nade out, Perfizi will be weak. That nade actually does kill Believe as well. So Denial with bomb down, with the man advantage. Looking really for Perfizi to Try and find a weapon on the floor. Is that going to be an opening? Well, his teammates dropping like dominoes all around him. Should be able to find the first. Now all of a sudden it's a 3 versus 1 in favor of Denial. Natche finds Profizi. Round over.
So part of the difficulties of sniping on this map, especially over on the side they just were looking over the B site, is you kind of have your choice of, do you want to look up top heaven, or do you want to look down, like over across the bomb down the way? Because if you don't stare at one and you go back and forth, obviously you're risking getting picked back and forth. But if you're not watching heaven, you need your teammates to pick that up for you. Like, just have like a split of who's going to focus on what. Because if you have a sniper and you see 2 kids already halfway across, you have to go for the world star like he has, because if you stand still for a moment, you're going to die.
Right.
So they just did not have their bases covered, and that is Denial being hyper-aggressive towards B to help them win the round.
See 2 guys running across catwalk wide open. You're like, really, guys? No one's even going to call that out? No one's going to shoot at it? It comes down to me trying to quick scope him midair. Yeah, okay. It's definitely a rough round. Whalers 4-1, continues his hot start. As Bum already down at B. 40 seconds now on the clock for this round. Still waiting for the first blood to come through. As Profizi just checks up top. Bit of a wide flank coming through for Zeke. Number 1 on the minimap. And now going to give him the okay. The all clear, hit that flank, and you'll see his name in the kill feed relatively soon. Here's exactly how. There's 1. Should be good to find the second. Beautiful little play, but Rezi has fallen off the map. So what could have been maybe a safer round is not so safe, as Profizi picks up 2. Natche finds the trade. There's a chicken on the floor, and that is an easy defuse.
And I think Zeke was probably the key guy that round. He was the one that was going on the latent flank for the team, and he timed it perfectly, because Robbie B, we could even hear him calling out, worried about the pressure from tunnels, because he spotted out 2. But when all the attention is focused now on the guys in tunnels coming through, let alone the 2 guys coming from the other side of the map, well, you don't have time to focus on your flank, and Zeke gets the timing just right for essentially some free kills. Free kill number 1, and everybody's concerned, trying to run away. It's like, oh God, now there's a guy behind us, and breaks it through and gets Denial another round on board.
Yeah, very patient play on the flank, waited for the absolute perfect time, gets the information from his teammates, the call-outs come through, and then you challenge, and that gives Denial now a 2-round cushion. And you have to think here, Chance, if Excelerate drop what has been their crutch game mode,
A series is almost certainly over.
Yeah. Well, this round underway. Now back on attack. Natche is over towards B, and potential to rotate the bomb out. As 2 players look to go on a flank, but the problem for them is they may get flanked themselves. Natche played that very, very wide, very, very safe, and didn't spring into life maybe quick enough as Profizi gets out with 1 health and a dream. Now though, for Denial, they can try and assault the A site, but Ruiz is ready and waiting for the push.
Push is coming now. The stun is going to help out as well, and Beezy's thinking, oh God, now the pressure is here. My teammates are all just tucked inside a tunnel, so I got to go. So he's backing up and actually doing the smart thing, but they are hunting him down. They're going to spot him out. Now he's got to deal with 2. The challenge, bait and switch, is there. So Beezy, the lone wolf, ends up getting just kind of run over, eaten, if you will, by the wolf pack. And well, now for the 2v3 for Excelerate, where Beezy's going to be the one potentially cutting through mid. And well, he does have a grab slam, but probably no good opportunities to use it.
How have you just fallen off the map? Oh no! It's a 3v2. Zeke tried to make the jump from top cat, I believe, and just flew off the map. And now Risk is 1 shot. They know exactly where he is. 20 seconds left. You have to try and outplay for the 1v2. Some sloppy shots from both players. Somehow still alive. 19 seconds on the clock. Risk, is he going to have to check the bomb? Believe is right behind him. 13 seconds there. The gunfight misses the melee. Is there enough time? Surely, as long as he doesn't misreload, he gets it. An Accelerate gifted a round, Chance.
I don't know what's worse. Like, jumping off the map, terrible. I don't know if Profizi ever reloaded his SOG for that gunfight because he just stopped shooting in the middle of it. Like, there's no way that was a full clip. Or is it punching in the middle of a gunfight when, honestly, you might even be able to clutch the 1v2 and just stop? Like, that's one of the sloppy rounds I think you're going to see in the CWL. And, of course, yeah, Brezzy just taking a tumble off the map. I don't know if he was expecting the catwalk to be there or if he missed the jump or whatever it was. But in a 3v2 where you did a lot of good things, that is that's rough.
It's bad because I was going to say Denial have been outplaying Accelerate. They have for the past 3 rounds. Even the start of that round, the way that they traded out was very, very successful. But then you just gift a round back. Don't get me wrong, of course, for Excelerate, they still had work to do. It was a 2v2. But they get the work done. And Profizi's grab slam could be used here to level things up. He's going to back away. The nade comes out, but this is surely going to be it. Finds just the first. Tempest out for Natche. That will trade it out. 4v4.
That is Perfeezy just going balls deep, trying to make sure he can get that plan to work for him. But, of course, that's just a trade out 1 for 1. And granted, the Tempest is online, which tells the entire team for Excelerate, need to rotate over towards A to not have to deal with the Tempest. And, well, now we got more stuns in, causing problems. BZ, of course, on the flip side of the map is able to find a pick. So another round where Excelerate does have the advantage, and Whalers is going to fall as well. And that round, Ben, where Denial kind of chucked it away when they had the 3v2, it might come back to haunt them because Excelerate looking very clean that round.
Yep. Now they level things up, more importantly, Chance. 3-3. Now this game of Search from what was at one point looking very controlled by Denial. Now not so much. Take a look at who has what in terms of specialists. Of course, a couple of things invested into that last round. Had the Graph Slam, we had a Tempest there as well. Really going to come down to a round like this where it's all tied up. A big one late in the Search and Destroy. Want to try and give yourself a bit of a cushion. Some players close to streaks there as well. Something else to think about, but Zeke has Tech 5. Is he going to pop it? Well, you would assume if he was going to do it, he'd do it right at the beginning of the round. On the flip side, Believe has Tempest. And Ruiz working towards his Tech 5, and Tempest is out.
If he hits one, he gets 2. Does not connect with either, but he does spot the information. But all the pressure's coming in tunnels, and Believe connects with nothing. No trades even coming in from the side of Excelerate. That is just too much pressure Denial's put on, which maybe it catches him off guard, but we saw them do the exact same thing previously. Natche 2 in front of him. Whalers is going to be able to clean up the job. And now it's a 4v2, players in the back. And the trades come in for Denial. Clean round from them, and they get rid of the Tempest. And I don't even believe they had to use the TAC 5.
Nope. Didn't invest it yet, so clearly waiting to just combo that. As Whalers actually found 3 kills in quick succession. Doesn't allow something traded out. That was 2. He found 1 a couple of seconds after that as well. So credit to him. Good round. Denial back in the lead, but this should be a 2-round advantage.
I mean, it's also worth saying, on the flip side of things, if Excelerate, that's the second time we've seen Denial just had 2 players sprint across like the catwalk.
Yeah.
They get Tempest up there and then shoot down a line where the players literally have to line up for you for the freest kills of all time. But that's just, again, the mid-round adjustments that doesn't come in from Excelerate. You don't see teams do that often. That's the second time Denial has done it in the same game. Now, of course, they are going to be sending a ton of players on the flank over towards A, which Excelerate, nobody's turned around for the moment. They're going to turn around now. Believe able to get out with his life and keep him on the TAC 5s there. So whichever players turn around on the flank, they got a tough situation to deal with. BZ able to get 1. The trade is there. And now it's just chaos for Excelerate. What direction do you look? You got trapped in the site, but they're able to take down Whalers, and that's the opening. 4 players can surge on through, push to the other side of the map, but the issue is, Ben, bomb is down.
Yes, bomb is down, and well, Denial know about it. They invested their TAC 5 off the rip. It's a 3 versus 4. Denial more than happy to play in the back of Accelerate's spawn, back of their base. Time is ticking. For Resi, it may be as simple as you may just have to play your life here, play time. Here comes the first challenge. 2 players flying. 1, 2, 3 for Risk. Can he find all 4? My goodness, that would have been a play, but Brezi's there for the trade nevertheless. And Denial, 2 rounds up, 1 round away from going 2-0 up in the series.
He choked the 4-piece, Ben. I expect better things out of Risk, but essentially what seemed like a perfect bait and switch. The first player just was looking over, expecting his teammates to get the kill.
At least had a shocker there.
I don't know what the second guy was doing. Well, I should say the third guy. The second guy lost the one-on-one. The third guy
he was like jumping at his teammate.
Got
like,
demolished.
Hey, bro, I'm here. I'm helping. No, you weren't helping too much there, Believe. I'll be honest with you. Chest bumped his teammate, bounced off, and now they're 1 round away from going 2-0 up. And Brezzy has his grab slam as well, Chance.
And of course, if they win this round, he might even get streaks. But of course, he wins. I missed that joke. I don't know if Maven's made that mistake again or not. But once again, Denial, ton of pressure over towards B. I think they're actually planning for Accelerate side of thing as well, which if you're Accelerate, that's got to be rough to deal with. Perfeezy, though, not able to get the second grab slam, takes down Ruiz. And a round that we have seen Denial win many times in this game. They are trying to lose once again.
Thank goodness.
And Zeke's the hero for the team at the end. Denial going up 2-0 in the series.
If they lost another round like that,
then they would have won the game the next round.
then I'll definitely like to make things interesting. It's never safe with the French squad, but for Excelerate, that'll be their first search and destroy loss in week 2 for them. And on the flip side, for Denal, all the confidence after a late win against Splice yesterday sees them 2-0 up to start today. We'll be back after this with Game 3 Control.
The Call of Duty World League is presented by PlayStation 4, the official platform of the CWL. Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the CWL. And Republic of Gamers, the official monitor of the CWL.
Game Fuel. Level up the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. As it stands, Denal 2-0 up in the first game of the day. Excelerate their clutch game mode that was search and destroy, not having too much success in. As Denal come out and take that. Now, I guess the question is, Chance, do you see Excelerate taking it? Okay, awesome. All right, so Denal probably going to go ahead and get the 3-0. I think that's what many people expect. Coming in here, Denal have shown improvement. Yep. Maybe not at the rate we would have liked to have seen, but they have shown improvement. And I guess, you know, the added addition of them bringing in a coach, that's going to be helpful for them and boot camping before Fort Worth.
And it should be a great, like, It's like there's so many questions we have of teams that look really good in Pro League. What's their peak going to be at open events? Like, I think Midnight is a fantastic example from the last division. Gen G, of course, right there as well. But even from this one, like Heretics start out 5-0. They might end up finishing 6-1, but how good can these teams actually get? Because it's all great to talk about Denial making improvements, yada, yada, yada. But if they don't perform once Fort Worth comes around and they still fall in that like top like 14 to 16 range, whatever it is, then like how much of a difference does it really make in the minds of everyone? How much confidence can they take away if they don't actually kick it up a notch? So it's great, but we still need more.
Yeah, definitely need to see a little bit more. You're absolutely right. But up next, control frequency will be where we go. Any interesting tidbits, chance for that game mode between these two teams?
I think it really just does come down to Accelerate. Since they made the roster swap, haven't won a single respawn. I think 0-9 is what they said on the desk. 0-10 now because of the gridlock hardpoint. And I think just to kind of touch on like Robbie B, I know we were trying to figure out whether or not like he baits his teammates, if he's just playing for stats, whatever it might be. I mean, from that game number 1, 250-213, if they don't, like, what was the hill on P3 that had the full 5-man setup and they get broken instantly? If little things like that don't happen, and that does not come down to one guy. So I think, you know, I'm not saying Robbie B doesn't bait. I have no idea. I'd have to watch just purely from his perspective, but it certainly runs a lot deeper than that.
Most definitely does. But to your point, since making a roster change, Accelerate haven't won a respawn. They were flawless in their search today, which is a weird thing. You heard Merc talk about it to start the day. Normally it's the opposite. They struggle more in the search and destroy, but not the case with them. But first round underway. Already a couple of kills, and it was Accelerate putting pressure over towards B first and foremost. Away looks there to try and stop the push. Early on, just a 1 life advantage to start to develop as Risk has to go over towards A, defend that. Unable to find one, so good split push coming out of Accelerate.
Yeah, now Accelerate is just pouring pressure on everywhere. They still have bodies over towards B. They got a guy watching mid-map form, and of course, you got to believe man number 1 on the mini-map is watching the front side of the map. So he's spotting out information. The guy in the hill knows he's safe. They have all their bases covered. And while they got players over B, while Believe is getting kills left and right, he does not get the second, but his team has gone over towards A. So the split push is real. Perfeezy, if he wins this one-on-one, Denial's in an incredibly tough spot. He wins it with ease. B might just be gone. They're going to try to send bodies over, but they're losing A as well.
Yeah, the problem is only one player on the hill means it's going to be capped slowly, unless, of course, you are Perfeezy, who did a wonderful job. Now his teammate goes in to try and trade. And Ruiz looking to pick up the kill. He will get it. Now there's multiple players over towards B. Also A almost capped as well. Denial. I'm not sure what that was off the rip, but if I'm honest, wasn't very good. Accelerate with the split push, putting pressure all over the map. Take round 1.
And I think towards the end, that's like bad decision making, right? Like they still have 2 guys that even rotate over to go and try to stop B while
it's gone.
Like A is like, yeah, at a certain point, you have to make the decision. Screw one of these points, just give it up, leave it, and we got to focus on just one. But Denial responded to the split push, which essentially split pushes of their own, and then they just didn't win the gunfight. So great round coming out of Accelerate. And I will say, we talk about them being 0-10 in respawn, but before they made the roster swap for Robbie B for Fastball, they were at least decent at control. Their hardpoint was still rough, and that has not changed, but before this past week, their control was solid for them. So if they were going to fix one first, you would have to imagine it would be here.
Well, good first round for them. 1-0 up. Nice for Denial. It's like they're very much more intent on just pushing over towards B, but you still have to find the kills, and it's something they struggled with in the first round, and they've struggled with to kick things off here in the second. Wall of blue. Kill feed. 2 life advantage. 29-27. Because now maybe Denial think they might want to push over towards A, and we obviously talk about a couple of teams not afraid of mixing things up. Frequency always a map where you can see different submachine guns come out, and that's the case here. It's Perfeezy. He loves a good Spitfire.
It's one of those things that, like, I agree it's a great idea. He never does, like, phenomenally well with it. Like, I don't know if it's justifiable enough, but obviously he thinks it is, so he continues to use it, and having a solid game off the rip so far as well, so just something to keep an eye on. But of course, if you want to watch something, Denial right now, swarming inside the hill. Believe he's trying to kill everybody he can, but one tick is already through. You got 3 bodies stacked inside, and You know how much Excelerate really wants to go and try to stop this, but they get kills on the top side, which means the pinch is going to be in. Send a guy through mid. Risk takes care of him. 2 guys coming in the front, and, well, Risk can't get away in time. His teammates here for the trades, but the trades don't even come in. Ruiz with the beat down, and a very solid spot right now for Excelerate. 6-life lead. Only 2 ticks have come through on A.
I believe close to some streaks as well. 110, all he needs. As he patiently waits to see if anyone from Denal is going to push, and luckily no one from Denal has actually died, which means he is more able to go for a flank like this without any worry about players spawning in, but you have to try and find the kills. There's the first. Can he get the second? Lightning and Hell has been earned. Accelerate much, much better here in game 3.
Well then, Excelerate came to play on control. Safe to say, 8-life lead, 12 seconds left, and I don't even know what the idea right now would be for Denial. Do you want to burn streaks? Do you want to go for the round win? Because there is too much to deal with. And granted for them, if they can manage to get this 8 point, start making things interesting, it might help them out over towards B. And Natshe trying to go big, but he gets cleaned up in the back. And 14-5, Ben. And Denial, though, they are not going out without a fight.
And realistically here, if you're Accelerate, you can even chalk this up. You don't need to push. The team had 4 lives left. Either way, at bare minimum, all you have to do is trade over towards A, and that's the game plan, and they do so with great success. So a 2-0 advantage Accelerate, a Hellstorm, a Lightning, a couple of specialists available as well, I believe. Much better chance, much better.
And with how heftily they won this past round, the snowball effect is going to start to kick in, right? They're all going to be closer to their specialists than the opposition. They have 2 streaks to help them out, so you could kind of just force this, shove it down your opponent's throat. As long as you don't have a terrible opening break, you should be clear to win the round. You just start investing stuff as soon as you earn it. So we'll see what kind of game plan Accelerate can cook up, but you're expecting good things from them.
Definitely are. There's a split push, which was the key to Accelerate's success in their first attacking round. This time, though, it's more as if it's going to be a full-on push towards B, as the early advantage goes in Accelerate's favor. Profizi with 2, looking for more mid-map, but Natshe may be able to just delay the push, as he actually gets himself a double. And bear in mind, Believe still with those streaks, Chance.
Believe's going to stun a couple players out, but wants to come help over towards the mid-map side of things. They did get 1 tick on board, and they do have a very small life advantage. BZ, well, doesn't connect with the punch, but the gun will do the trick. Able to pick up 1, but Emery's just going to back all the way down, retreat to his teammates because he's working on some score streaks of his own. Man's on a 5 spree, and, well, split push has been pretty consistent for Accelerate on this map. They showed B early, but now they got 3 bodies over towards A, and, well, it looks like Denial might be trying to fix some mistakes. They might just chalk it up. They're leaving the point. The problem is, now you're trying to contest the point that's open when the other team has score streaks.
Yeah, it feels like Denial a little slow on their rotations there. By the time they finally took control of the B site, there's 3 players over towards A. You have to worry about Profizi with his Grav Slam. You know he has it. You know, he was last seen mid-map, a little bit something to consider. But if Emery's gets these streaks, this, if it isn't already, should definitely be over. Could come down to maybe just using your specialist to put this game to bed. And your Accelerate, just build that kill lead. As it stands, it's just a 2. As Ruiz will find a Lightning. Now looking for more, just 10 more points, all he needs.
And this is Accelerate as a team just trying to get more streaks. They're not even worried about the point. They're not worried about investing anything to get over towards this hill. Ignoring the objective just for the streaks. And it may pay off. Lightning Strike is going to force players inside, if not kill them. They should know another player's here. They're going to be sliding out looking for him, but Zeke is able to pick up 1. Natshe does get cleaned up. But 1 tick, imagine, already through on this point. You still have more streaks. The Grav Slam to find 2. The opening is here. Accelerate, trying to win it as quickly as possible.
Surprised I haven't seen Ruiz use his Hellstorm to try and kill the players off spawn. Well, it's a little late, but better late than never.
Cover it.
Come through, or... All right, well, there it is. The hit marker, but he's bought a little bit of time. 2 ticks now in towards B. That's a War Machine being rattled away. Now a Lightning Strike's going to be called in. As Denial hanging on for dear life. Investing their specialists as the second half of the final tick comes through. Tempest is out. Denial only down 1 life. With 2 ticks already into B and over a minute on the clock, Chance. This is going to be very, very tough to close out. Hellstorm is coming down as well. Need to win the fight if you're Zeke to bare minimum trade and nullify the effect of the Hellstorm. That was successful, but 2 more kills come through. Instantly traded out. Risk with 2. Denal staying alive.
I mean, Excelerate is kind of systematically, they were just giving up control to call in a streak to force them into bad spots, but then when all is said and done, just simply did not win nearly enough gunfights. But now you got the War Machine to help out. You don't need a gun if you got a rocket launcher of sorts, and Robbie be able to find 2, and that might be the opening break they need. Zeke gets traded out. You got a player mid-map that believe is just trying to deal with, and Brezzy wins the gunfight, but it doesn't matter. The point is there in Excelerate. And with the 3-0 win.
It's a small thing, but if you're Brezzy, yes, you know there's one bottom orange, but you know the players from Excelerate are going to triple stack the hill. That last tick is going to go very, very quickly. You have a grab slam. You got to go. You got to put it down as quickly as you possibly can. You almost have to ignore the gunfight mid-map just to contest in time. Not the case. Excelerate staying alive.
And that was just a lot of, like, even though Excelerate did a very good job of, like, wait till they get control of B, use the streaks, force them in a bad spot, they were also having players, like, watching the full flank rather than, like, pushed up mid-map. So they kept getting inside the hill, but then the top side was open, and we heard Tempest coming in, players winning gunfights. So, I mean, the idea was great, and I think the execution was okay, but it definitely could have been a lot better.
Oh, the execution could have been way better. Way better. Completely agree with you. The way you use your streaks in terms of just trying to spawn trap, if nothing else, was a little closer than maybe it should have been. Here, you got a little bit of lady luck on your side because there's no flak because the players from Denial hadn't died. But either way, at this point,
also
here, this gunfight, you have to leave it.
That gunfight gave Brezzy the gravity slam.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, he did not have it until he gets that kill.
All right, fair enough. Then I guess you see he has to take that fight. But either way, even if you take that fight, you're still not going to have time to contest. You almost need to contest, try and win a gunfight in the zone, get your grabs.
It's an impossible situation.
True,
if he goes and takes on 3 players with a gun, he's hoping he's, like, not weak enough that they don't trade. Like, the issue that round is he give up 2 full sets, well, not full sets of streaks, but 2 sets of streaks. They get their specialists soon. Like, that round ended, honestly, from round number 1, if anything you'd say, just because the bounce back, they did not handle the split push very well at all. So that is, I think, the first respawn win Excelerate has now gotten with the new roster, which the good news is if they get their second, then you go in a search and destroy, and yes, the payload went well for Denial, but I have to imagine that was Denial's pick of the S&D map, so it should it go game 5. Excelerate not in a bad spot.
Just got to get to game 5, right?
And again, these teams are fighting to avoid being at the very bottom of the division.
Well, for Denial, it was a reverse sweep in their favor yesterday against Splice. Gave them their first win. Now, all of a sudden, potential to throw away a series from a reverse sweep. Accelerate, as you mentioned, Chance, their first respawn win with the new roster. Can they get a second? And you brought up a valid point as well. Their control before the team change was decent.
Not great, but decent.
It was comparatively speaking to everything else.
Yes,
it was decent. It's the hard point where they really have struggled. But maybe, just maybe, they get the momentum from that last game. Move forward, tie things up 2-2, head to a game 5. But we talked about the Spitfires, we talked about Profizi. Oh, here it is, straight off the rip. Unsuccessful, but was more of a chest bump than anything else. His teammates luckily enough to trade.
I mean, those bodies just made of rubber. They go flying. And something interesting, back at the PLQ, this was one of the maps that Excelerate was very good on, to the point where certain teams were saying, do not play them on frequency. And it's not just because of the Spitfire. This is something that Fastball, very good. Hyper-aggressive map. This is where he kind of shines. And now this is honestly one of the bigger questions for me is how does Robbie B and the team do when they're dealt with the map they've actually had success on in the past? The opening break was pretty good for them. It does look like Denial's at least fighting on. Profizi by himself should eventually get cleaned up, and that's the case. But Excelerate winning potentially the rotation. They got 2 players in the back locking down spawns. You still have to win these gunfights.
Yeah, you do, indeed. Saving grace is that there's at least 2 of them. They have some assistance as well coming in from Robbie. Left-hand side lane. Kills. Good so far for Excelerate. However, it is Denial in the hill. That should change in a few moments' time as Leave tags up 1. The bait and switch should be enough. Hill still contested and, well, never mind. Despite controlling the spawns and setting up a nice little pinch, Denial hold on. Gunfight's 1 in the hill.
It was kind of, so it's always nice to lock down the spawns, but you don't want to give away too much. And they sent 2 players literally all the way in the back of the map, which is great for spawns, but then Denial, they just got 2 bodies in the hill, had another guy's steps, and they said, hey, we're still controlling the hill. At the very least, you still have to come in this one single doorway. We don't care if you spawn there quicker. So, I mean, I can sort of appreciate the idea of where Excelerate was coming from, but again, the execution was far less than okay in Denial already trying to run away with this game.
And now it's Zeke in a position to try and make a play. Unfortunately, he didn't have the best trigger discipline there. Fires a shot, and that will give all the information Excelerate need that they know someone pushing. Still can make a play though. Here he finds his pick on towards Robbie, which he will. He's going to end up looking for maybe one more, and you see the effect. His teammates spawning in. Zeke so patient. You'd love to see it.
We also have a player on the flank right now in Perfeezy trying to come around their back, which Zeke does take him down, but you see Perfeezy's pressure wasn't enough. You see Denial is getting spawned all the way out. They win the gunfight, so Excelerate finally able to start getting a little bit of time on board. Got Robbie B just waiting for a player to come up in the window. Doesn't even need the shot bunch, and well, finds a 2-piece of his own. You still need to get some bodies over in the hill because, well, Whalers was able to pick up 2. Robbie eventually there for the trade, but the only way to win the game is getting in the hill, so you got to stay there for the time being. Maybe he's thinking about some score streaks, but that is Denial eventually able to fight and get that scrap time.
Now, just not thinking about that rotation. You can see them on the minimap. The blue arrows prevailing towards the new hill as it's about to pop. Denial, the lead. Not a massive one, though. 76-47. Nevertheless, as Robbie working towards some streaks of his own, he's done well just to stay alive. Spamming the heal, gets another kill for his efforts. 160 away from a lightning strike, and that could be massive for Excelerate to try and shift the tide here and give themselves the lead in terms of points. Got to be patient over your Robbie EKAs will do. You also have a nade at your disposal. A lot could go right, but you again have to stay alive. He's just dancing with death as finally, surely, no, the kill still doesn't come through for him. 4 players from Denial have done such a good job, and finally they find the pick onto Robbie. Perfeezy hits the flank, hill contested, but Denial did wonderfully well on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Denial making sure to play their lives well, but that is also hardcore baiting your teammates in for nothing. You don't get hill control, just nothing out of it, and again, that's been a thing the desk has brought up repeatedly. Obviously, when you're getting close to streaks, you do want to bait your teammates, but you got to make it work. And Denial now has an 80-point lead and control the next hill. And they got the setup they want. They got a couple players to watch mid-map. They got extra bodies in the hill to watch a lane. And, well, Excelerate, I don't know how you get inside because Perfeezy, well, doesn't have the gravity slam yet. So the easy answer is simply not there. The gravity hook comes over, trying to do damage to players. Whalers picks up 2. Risk gets another. First push is going to be stuffed.
Oh, he didn't see his legs. Oh, I was going to say, easy streaks right there. He finds that pick, but speaking of easy streaks, stay in the hill.
Yeah.
Just don't move, and you'll be A-okay. And that should be the game plan here for Risk. For his teammates, you got to think about the new hill. You also have to think about keeping them alive. Whalers, he earns his lightning, and, well, what at one moment looked as if it could be slightly close. Maybe a little competitive. At this point, doesn't look that way. 2 streaks earned. Whalers and Risk for the now. Potential for Natche, as unfortunately for him, he will fall. War Machine popped out, so they're going to be flak. There is, and this is a tough spot to be in. You're looking for almost a direct impact. Risk will earn the Hellstorm. Potential for him to continue that streak and go on for a gunship as Whalers instantly calls in the lightning. Natche, who's been great all series long, to be fair to him. He finds himself a double. Whalers working towards his Hellstorm. They're now locking everything down. Chance this kind of got out of hand.
I'm just going to stretch a little bit.
Yeah.
Get warmed up for the next series to come on board. I mean, this is kind of a game that, on one hand, yeah, it is Robbie B trying to bait his teammates unsuccessful. It is Whalers popping 3 pieces, going on 8 streaks in the middle of the game, but it doesn't even matter at this point, Ben. Just put on the Denial show. From 0-4, and now they, well, should win their final 2 series. So 2-4, I think all things considered, not a bad record, Ben.
It's not 2-5?
Sorry, 2-5. I don't know why I keep thinking you only play 6 series for some reason. Counting is real difficult. So yeah, 2-5, sorry.
2-5. It's improving. It's improvement. But this one, which I think most people would have looked at Denial to take, and they will take it. Barring an absolute collapse and a near miracle, this one is a
There's baiting your teammates.
And then it's just flat out killing your teammates.
Murdering them in cold blood.
Oh,
that happens a lot in ranked play. In the CWL, you see it a little bit. Well, actually, no, you don't even see it less. We literally saw it on Payload. Risk did the exact same thing. Of course, when Risk did it, they still won. And when Robbie B does it, they lose by probably near 200 points.
Like 200, yeah.
Okay.
It's impressive.
They had a great start, though.
Oh, wonderful.
Great start.
Wonderful start, Chance. We could talk about that start all day.
But it's not about how you start. It's about how you finish.
Yeah.
I love cliches.
Words of wisdom from Chance. Denial just ran through Accelerate. Now the question marks are going to really start to get in their heads potentially. Was a team change necessary? Was it the right idea? Has it helped? Well,
and do you make more?
Do you make more? Exactly that before Fort Worth. I mean, yeah, of course, only for us to speculate, only for us to discuss, only the team and the management will know the answers to those. Tough questions, but one thing is for sure. Accelerate bottom of Division B. A poor showing from them. On the flip side, for Denial, it's been improvement. Bit by bit, but improvement nevertheless. Congratulations to them. A 3-1 victory. We'll be back with the next game on Main Stage after this.
The Call of Duty World League is brought to you by Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, the official beverage of the CWL. Scuff Gaming, the official controller of the CWL. And TCL, America's fastest growing TV brand.
We gave them until the end of the week, and Denial has managed to secure their second win to finish out their time in Division B, ending at 2-5. Your desk is back. I'm your host, Katie Bedford, joined again by Nameless, Joe, and Study. Joe, I mean, they did it. They got 2 wins. A lot better. Accelerate, though, 1-6.
Yeah, not good for Excelerate, especially, again, after making that team change. Like, you want to see improvements, and once again, we're just not really seeing that. Yes, one improvement is you win a respawn map, right? Like, that's sort of one thing you were working on, but I just have to look at this from the start of the series. Just even these map picks, like, playing Payload Search and Destroy, you saw Denial beat Splice yesterday. Playing Frequency Hardpoint, we've heard that how good Denial is. This is where they want to play. For Excelerate, just feels like, I don't know, they haven't changed their map pace up. Maybe it's just due to a limited time of practice with Robbie B. But in terms of, we're going to make a roster change to improve, we haven't seen that yet. And last week we saw with Fastball, they were going to Game 5 with teams. They were taking teams to the limit. Maybe it'll pay off here down the line, right? Maybe we'll see improvements at Fort Worth and after that, but so far, not good for Accelerate. But for Denial, after beating Splice yesterday, they carry that momentum into today.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at Accelerate, it's like, I was looking at their stats with Fastball, and he had like a 0.6 in hardpoint, so it's not like he was doing too good, but his engagements were through the roof, so he's playing super aggressive and, you know, was allowing them to push these games towards the end. And in their last few matches, I noticed a trend. They've been playing gridlock hardpoint in the beginning, and they just lose. It's like, it's putting them in such a bad spot in the series.
In that S&D, it was I'm pretty sure it was like a 5v4 situation, and Beezy, which is on Accelerate, he was the bomb carrier. The entire team decided to go towards the B bomb site. And Beezy, for some reason, decided to go outskirts and get the bomb dropped there. The entire other team, everyone on Accelerate was just sitting at the B bomb, like, where's the bomb at? They had to completely wrap back to their base and fight them because they knew bomb was down. Risk ended up picking up an amazing 3-piece. I just didn't think that Accelerate were on the same page, and you can just tell, like, they're just not working together clearly. In this situation right here, Robbie B, he's one-off streaks, and he lets 4 teammates fly in front of him. Eventually doesn't pick up the streaks and completely loses this entire time, ends up rotating, gives streaks to the other team, and at this point, it's just like you're just driving it way lower than you need to. If you're going to play for your streaks this hard, you 100% have to pick them up. Plain and simple. At least rotate to the next hill, figure out something. Everything after this situation right here just went completely downhill for Accelerate.
I mean, yeah, like right here, it's pretty necessary to pick up those streaks. Every time you're not going to get them, but you know, at some point, if they're baiting a couple players, it's like, maybe I need to challenge, and then, you know, you end up dying. And from here on out through the rest of the game, Denial, just every rotation was theirs. If Accelerate was even remotely early, they got broken instantaneously. And, you know, from here on out, that was a flawless play at hardpoint on the side of Denial. And, you know, Frequency, yesterday we saw them play amazing versus Splice. So in terms of hardpoint, that's one map that they look incredible on. On the side of Accelerate, I want to talk a little bit about that Search and Destroy because they've been pretty good thus far. But in that Search and Destroy, they had an opportunity to take the 4-3 lead. When it was 3-3, they pull out the Tempest, and the player pulls it out sort of on the low B bridge. And one, that's not a very good spot to pull it out unless you have like more information than what he had. He knew they were all up top. They just run straight across, get inside their top skywalk, run down the steps, keep that in mind, and then kill players on the team. They kill the Tempest. Tempest actually does no damage. So with the information that you just gained with that Tempest that they're up there, you try to force a challenge, and then he ends up dying. And then all the players try to trade him, end up dying there as well. You got to get an entry in that situation. And that was the round to me, which was the swing round. Right there, you blow the Tempest, and then Denial wins the next 2, game over. There's just a lot to work on top to bottom. Even their Search and Destroy right there just looked awful.
Certainly. Well, I mean, they do have a couple weeks until Fort Worth, and there is potential roster changes in the horizon, but we'll see if they can pick something up. But while Pacnet is home, sick and dying, we miss you so much. He has been tweeting about these matches. We do want to pull that up, of course, saying Accelerate can't win Search. They aren't even a competitive roster. That was an awful display of teamwork.
It's kind of what we talked about, right? Like, just right now, if they're not going to win their Search and Destroy, you could tell in their respawns that they are just lackluster, and I think it showed there. Obviously, Denial is improving, and I think their confidence is going through the roof. For Denial, it's a long-term project, right? We're going to stick with this roster. We're going to continue to get better, and finally, we're seeing this. Accelerate, they didn't want to work long-term with Fastball. They wanted to make a change, and yeah, their teamwork right now just not on point, right? You have to give it back.
One thing for Denial was just the simple fact that we heard Benson say it on the cast is they're going to be staying here until
boot camping,
That's going to be amazing for them. Just to be able to get the practices versus all these pro teams, North American, European, it's going to be great for them, especially going into Fort Worth. Their confidence is going to be at a whole different level than it was now.
Now, Team Envy's coach Bevels did reply to Pack, saying the pacing difference between Fastball and Robbie has to be screwing them over so hard. They were competitive before the roster change, clearly not now.
Well, I will say in terms of that tweet, people on that side of the coin saying that, you know, they were a lot better at fastball. I don't think they were that much better. I think in the beginning, I think they've gotten gradually worse just as a team, and adding Robbie B obviously didn't help, but they still had so much to work on, even with fastball. Like, fastball didn't have the best stats. I just said he had like a .62, and he was playing super aggressive, but you're not going to get by and consistently win games like that anyway. So even if they did have fastball, which was a toxic environment, we might have seen them become even worse over time than the potential, you know, upswing that they could have with Robbie B, because like they said, he is a better teammate. It's a good environment that they have now. So it is a situation where they can improve if they learn how to play. But right now, I truly think that Excelerate in all fundamentals of Call of Duty just don't know what's going on the map.
Joe, what do you think?
Well, I think it's just sort of, it's a different player. It's a different role, right? If fastball is that first guy going in at all times, you're going to deal with different experiences on the map, right? It's sort of like, wait, usually when I'm in this spot, I have him here to do this for me, and now I don't. I have to be the first guy in. Yep. I think that's why you're seeing maybe a guy like Profizi sort of struggle a little bit. When we look at this roster, now that you have Robbie B in here, Robbie B and Profizi have to sort of be your two stars, right? That star duo have to be together. The problem is, right, when they're playing together, they're playing at the sort of same, maybe slow pace. Now Profizi has to be the one to go in first, has to be that entry guy. You can see Robbie B playing well. The problem is the rest of the team isn't, especially stats-wise, and then it puts more pressure on guys like Beezy, guys like Emruiz, who just haven't had the best performances.
That is certainly true, but we do need to bring up our schedule now.